What's the single most important item in your home that has a value of $1 or less? A matchstick. I had a door that was sagging in my house due to the screw over time wearing a larger hole in the wall. And after some research I found a tip that shoving a matchstick with the tip broken off inside and a dab of glue could make the hole smaller. That matchstick was worth its weight in gold. So about $1. After it helped me fix a huge annoyance. Alternately toothpicks or a wooden golf tee. My door came off its hinges because the screws stripped the holes from decades of use. Very old house, and this is how I fixed it. Wooden golf tees in the hole and toothpicks in the remaining gaps. Sand the broken end down once dry, and you've got a brand new surface to drill. A rock shaped like a heart. My fiance and I took a trip to Poland and Greece. I bought her a heart-shaped rock from a salt mine in Poland. Didn't cost $1. But at a red sand beach in Greece 4 days later, she found a rock that was shaped perfectly like a heart. This one was free. Both rocks now sit next to each other in our house we just bought. Also one rock is dark and the other red. I so happen to have red hair, and she has dark hair. She found the red heart rock for free, and I bought the salt rock. Oh, that's so sweet. The book that my grandma used to read to me. It's worthless. Wasn't even listed on Goodreads until I added it. But she died in 2005, the day after my 8th birthday, and remembering her voice reading it is one of the clearest memories I have. Would definitely save it in a fire. What book is it? C.A.T. Crusoe by Mark Burgess, about a sophisticated cat that is shipwrecked and meets a band of giant pirate mice. Wait, I swear I have this book. No way. It was one of my favorite books as a kid and nobody else had heard of it. I'm so glad to hear someone else loved it or has even heard of it as well. Yes, Reddit didn't let me down. I thought, if I know Reddit, someone else will know this book. Apostrophe. A ratty teddy bear passed down from my much older brothers to me is the only item I have that survived my insane childhood. Sounds like he makes a great balloon. How did this comment get barely any attention? A best brother in the world pin from my brother who passed away. He gave it to me when he was 6. Edit. Thanks everyone, it means a lot. It was a few years ago and I've made peace. I hope he's happy. For all you still suffering, I hope you get through it. It gets better. That's very sweet and heartwarming. And I'm very sorry for your loss. Speaking of brother, I have kept the loop bands that my youngest brother gave to me 6 years ago. He was just 10 when he made it. Just a mediocre rubber band bracelet that I brought with me to study and live abroad. I kept it together with his favorite shirt that he also sneakily tucked in my luggage. Edit. A word. My collection of old dog tags, literally dogs. I have all my 4-legged dog tags since I was 9. I'm 54 now. I have it in my will to be buried with these, adding to the list of things I wish I had done. It's never too late, except when it is. My son found a rock on the way home from school in kindergarten. We were walking home through this park we always cut through, and he grabbed the rock and fell in love with it. It just looked like mud to me, but who cares, he loved it. When we got home I helped him wash it off in the sink, and it was black and kinda bluish. He said it was awesome, and then gave it to me. It's one of my most precious things in the world to me. Oh, that's adorable. My stepdaughter loved gifting me rocks. I've kept quite a few. One of my favorites is a rose quartz she actually found on a hike in the mountains. It looked like a regular rock, but after we cleaned it up, I noticed it looked like quartz. I asked my friend, who collects minerals, and she told us what it was. I thought that was just absolutely amazing. My stepdaughter used to give me rocks too, but I wish she would have handed them to me, rather than leaving them in her pockets to go through the wash. I remember asking her why she didn't clean out her pockets, and she said she thought I might like a little surprise while I was doing laundry. OMG, I'm sorry, but I laughed. She used to do that too by accident when she was smaller. One time, about 5 years into our relationship, my girlfriend, now wife, and I were in separate rooms in our 1-bedroom apartment in early December. From the other room, she hollered to me, "What do you want for Christmas?" I had been working full-time, taking part-time university classes to finish my degree, and had been volunteering as part of a youth mentor program. So I said all I really want is a break. 3 weeks later, I'm unwrapping a very heavy show box. After getting through the mountain of duct tape and several layers of wrapping paper, I had my very own brick. I really didn't understand what you wanted it for, she said, but you sounded so sure of it. So here you go. Cue about 10 minutes of laughs. And now that brick sits proudly on my desk. Every time I'm overwhelmed or feeling like I've taken on too much, I look at it, pick it up, have a little laugh, and put it back so I can carry on. Best gift ever. That's an incredibly sweet story. Thanks for sharing. There's a picture of my wife and I with our adopted daughter. The picture was taken when she was around 13 or so, but we didn't adopt her until she was 16. When we took, it was just us and a kid we kind of knew from church. It's so cool to look back on and see how far we've come. Edit. Thanks for the awards and the kind comments, but I can promise you, we've gotten way more out of her living with us than she has. She's an amazing human being. If you'd like to read the story, check the comments below. You didn't just bring her home from church suddenly one day, did you? No, you make that mistake more than 2 or 3 times and they start looking at you funny. Handwritten letters from my grandmother who passed away a few years ago. While it is sad to see her handwriting get progressively worse for each letter at the end, it is nice to have something that was that close to her. I have them stored in a small box and it always goes into our evacuation bag during fire season. Evacuation bag during fire season, man. It's crazy some of the stuff I take for granted. I guess it makes sense, but I'd never have thought something like that would exist if you hadn't said. Buddy, you said it. I didn't think about it either, but I moved to the West Coast about a year ago just in time for almost the worst fire season in recorded history. You bet your ass we now have a bug out bag with important documents and supplies. It's scary stuff packing up what you can carry in your car while ash falls from the sky and you watch the fires creep closer. Some sleepless nights not knowing when the evacuator is going to come. Then the discouraging realization that there isn't really anywhere to go and that federal aid wasn't coming. My BF and I just moved to SoCal and kept talking about making a fire plan and never did. We thought we made it past fire season and thought we'd just talk about it next year. Literally the next week I hear fire sirens and know something is wrong. Get evacuated 20 minutes later when he is at work. Packing in such a hurry and all the adrenaline was honestly scary, and trying to figure out what I would want if I could never come back home. I was shaking all the way until we were able to pull over and park later and take a deep breath. Luckily we were able to return in 2 days. I ignored the advice, but if you're in a fire zone please pack a fire bag. Grew up in SoCal. It's always fire season? No, really. It's especially important to have a go bag packed before the Santa Ana's it. But they are good to have all year round for other disasters like earthquakes, mudslides, etc. Don't forget to pack a few cans of pet food and any other supplies they might need. Extra leash. Thunder vest. I got this complimentary little webcam cover that slides back and forth over the camera lens on my laptop. It's saved me from making a fool of myself on Zoom many times now. I got this goodie bag for participating in this one event, and it had a webcam cover in it. Now every day I thank this little guy for helping me during online classes, or just for helping me to keep the privacy. We've all heard about that teacher who accidentally turned her camera on while shitting in a Zoom class/meeting. Suddenly we all want one of these. We had someone take a shower during one of ours. It's an online program, so students rely on the recording to listen to later, because many of us have jobs and kids. Someone saw in the morning the recording of her getting naked and showering. The teacher had to take it down. /view 200D. I have a $1 bill saved and put away in a drawer. The significance behind it is it was my last dollar before I decided to stop gambling and doing hard drugs. I had to stop cold turkey. I was so fucking done being a half human or an empty shell. At first it was just $1 that sat in my center console in my car. I would look at it and be reminded what I was doing. I've been sober for well over a year now. I feel like that $1 is special. I know in Narcotics Anonymous they get something saying how long they've been sober or whatever. That $1 is my token. My token for fighting a silent battle that I cannot share with people, otherwise I could lose my job. When I was 4 or 5, the last time I ever saw my great grandmother, She gave me a dollar bill and said, as long as you keep this dollar you'll never be broke. I spent it the next day on some candy. That may be my biggest regret. Hey you. That's a beautiful story and you sound like a loving great grandchild. Just a thought. Ever tried sitting down and forgiving yourself? Like, not just saying it in passing. Actually going through the mental process. Picturing the tiny clueless human being you were back then and forgiving them. You were 4 or 5. You were tiny and you couldn't have known better. Your great grandma loved you. Gave your little adorable self a dollar. And I may not know her, but I'm pretty sure that as any loving great grandma, she probably would have shook her head smiling widely seeing you spend that dollar the very next day on some candy and stuffing your rosy cheeks with some candy that made you happy. She knew you would. If you gave a 4-year-old a dollar with some wisdom on top, would you expect them to keep it forever? Of course not. Gentleness was exchanged. Memories were made. Could you even be mad at that cute little thing that you were? Seeing yourself through Grand's eyes, it's all fine. It's in fact absolutely beautiful. I know when you say that it's your biggest regret, you probably aren't waking up in sweat and horror every night thinking about this and all, and it may be a bit of a hyperbole. Sure, you're fine. But honestly, I hope you can genuinely forgive your little self. Because you deserve it. I sometimes find little actions like that, and putting myself in the shoes of my childhood self profoundly helpful and quite lovely. We carry a bunch of weight with us which doesn't serve us. It adds up. It's nice to offload some weight sometimes. Take care over there. You sound like the person I will spend my life trying to become. Your kindness, empathy, generosity and emotional maturity are an example to aspire to, and so is your use of writing and tone. Congratulations. Thank you. I wish you well. I have a church organ in my house that I got for free when a church in another state couldn't find an organist and gave up the organ. I minored in music in college and I'm an organist. So it's probably the most important less than $1 item I own. Wow. Church organs are big things. Where do you put all the pipes? How did you get it into your house? I have so many questions. It's a MIDI organ. It uses a computer and sound samples of a real organ to make sound through my speaker system. However, I do have a few ranks of pipes that we're, my roommate and I, both musicians, going to rig up to let the organ control to have a real pipe organ. But as of now, pipes not being functional, it is simply a warped work powered organ. OHH. Okay, much more manageable. Bet it's a joy for you though. Go ahead and check my profile. Just uploaded a picture of it in its former state. It's currently apart right now getting updated to have 2 touchscreen monitors. I have to take pills for tension headaches or I can barely function. I get really dizzy. One pill costs $1. So when a tension headache flares up and I'm dizzy and sick feeling, there is no better dollar spent than on that pill. I get tension headaches too. They suck. Is the pill you take recipe or OTC? I may spell this wrong, but it's something like sumatriptan. As a pharmacist, you spell this totally correctly and get 4000 baller stats. I don't know how to type sunglasses emoji on a computer so just pretend I did. Dad's straw. Gardening hat. It's torn and worn. But he died 2 years ago, and it reminds me of him when I wear it. My dad used to make these wire puzzle toys. I have the wire, and I can make more of them. But the ones he made are priceless. Gang shit, my great grandma always made these for us when we were kids. I couldn't make one, but I run across one here and there and it always makes me smile. Man's really said gang shit lol. Highest praise to offer a grandmother. If you are new to Tattletale TV, please subscribe. We have new videos every day. Stay tuned for more coming up next.